Untamed Publishing has partnered with Katie Creatives to present to you UP pre-made book covers. With over 200 covers to choose from, we're sure you'll find exactly what you need to fit your author needs. Just visit www.untamedpublishing.net.
And now, here is your host.
Good afternoon, and I'm back. And I'm back with my guest star, because I'm going to say she's my guest star. She's also my friend, my sister. She's just everything. Miss Quintaria Brunson. She's a strategist and the founder of the Brunson approach. And we are talking about pen to profit, financial mastery for creative entrepreneurs. So this is the second episode. And this episode, we will be talking about entrepreneurial authorship, building your brand as a business. But before we get into that, let me go ahead and get into my particulars because I definitely skipped them. Sorry. It is time for hashtag Writer Wednesday, Tips with Crystal. And you guys, you know that is not right. I thought I remembered it, but I don't. So let's go ahead and rewind it back. All right, so it's time for hashtag Writer Wednesday with Crystal. Tips offering advice to aspiring new and seasoned authors about all aspects of the literary world. We are presented by Untamed Publishing. Allow us to help you unlock your unlimited writing potential. If you are an aspiring new or seasoned author, head over to www.untamedpublishing.net for a variety of services to assist you on your publishing journey. Now, like I said earlier, we are doing a segment. This is episode 2 in a 4-part episode on pen to profit, financial mastery for creative entrepreneurs. Okay, so I'm going to say creative entrepreneurs, but I'm also going to say this is for authors, this is for bloggers, this is for content creators. It is for any person who is out here on social media making money. And not just on social media, because authors, I mean, yeah, they are on social media, but just, making sure that you are getting all of your coins, not a little, all of your coins. I have learned so much from Quintaria on what I can do with Books and Soul, but myself as an author. Right now, I'm still a writer. I won't be an author until I publish my first book, but she's helping me on the business aspect when I do become an author. So last week was episode 1. And we talked about balancing books and budgets, financial fundamentals for authors. Okay, so on that episode, we talked about understanding and managing irregular incomes, budgeting and financial planning for authors. And we also talked about navigating taxes and financial compliance as a self-employed creative. We talked about exit strategies and how important it was to have one. We talked about, let me see, else did we talk about? I'm going to just tell you this. Go check out the first episode and you'll see what we talked about. I'm not even going to sit here and try to go over everything we talked about. This is for anyone who listens to the show and getting the information that they need to make themselves a marketable, profitable business. Okay. Now, before I go ahead and I'm going to just tell you what we're going to discuss, and then I'm going to just go ahead and let Quinn introduce herself just in case people missed the first episode and came into the second, okay? But you need to go back to the first episode as well. So today we're going to focus shifts to viewing authorship as an entrepreneurial venture. Quintaria is going to provide insights on creating a business model around writing, understanding the market, and branding oneself as an author entrepreneur. So, we can put it together and call you an authorpreneur. So that's what we do. Because, I put stuff together, make words that probably don't make sense. But I think entrepreneur is probably in the Urban Dictionary, if not in the Webster. I don't know. But Quinn, let's everyone. So if you guys hear me saying Quinn, I told you she's my friend. That's my girl. So I won't say the other name I say, but I'm just going to go by Quinn. But this is Miss Quintaria Brunson. Just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Crystal, for having me on again. Our last episode was really powerful.
It was.
Like we got to the heart of just knowing and really taking ownness of being an entrepreneur, and knowing that even though you are a creative, that it's a business behind that. And if you want a sustainable business, you've got to do certain things and put certain things in place in order to ensure that. So, with that being said, my name is Quintaria Brunson, and I am a business strategist and financial advisor, in particular for entrepreneurs who are looking to have lasting legacies. My goal is to have a legacy for myself and my family, and I teach other entrepreneurs how to leverage businesses and other investment vehicles so that you can have the legacy that you desire as well. My company is called the Brunson Approach, and that's where we have designed a specific and unique way to educate and train entrepreneurs, and really and coach and provide support and resources to entrepreneurs about how to be intentional about your ideas and your goals, and how to have a scalable, sellable business in the end. And you can have a scalable, sellable business in any area, in any industry. You've just got to have the right tools in place in order to set that up. So that's a bit about me, a small recap of what we did last week, and I'm excited to dig in and talk
Yes.
about this week.
All righty. So thank you so much. So yes, let's go ahead and dig in.
All right.
So I love this. You basically said developing a mindset as an author. What type of mindset should an author develop besides the writing part?
Okay.
Especially with the business side, because like you just said, you are a business and you want to be profitable, marketable, and sellable. So what type of mindset would they have to develop?
Yeah. So today we're focusing on building your business as a brand. And we hear a lot about branding, but in particular for those who are creatives, again, taking, embracing entrepreneurship, knowing that even though you are a creative and you have wonderful concepts and a great vivid imagination, and you're able to bring that to life, you've got to embrace entrepreneurship and the business aspects that come along with that. Now, again, like we said in the last episode, that does not necessarily mean that you have to physically do all of these things, but you should become
Mhm.
comfortable with it, and you got to CEO that thing. Like I always say, you at least need to know that even as a creative, I am an entrepreneur. And the difference between entrepreneurs who are kind of just freelancing and robbing Peter to pay Paul, and those entrepreneurs that are scaling and winning, is that some entrepreneurs do a really good job with packaging their brand as a business, and going and waking up each day knowing that that I am a business person first, that makes money as an author and things of that nature. That will be very helpful. The second thing is a long-term vision. Going back
Mhm.
to how we talked about exit strategy,
Yes.
when you're writing your books, are you considering doing series? Will it turn? Would you love to have movies in the end, like books that turn into movies? Like what investments need to be in place in order to make those type of things happen? But again, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of looking further down the road and then reverse engineering your plan step by step in order to make it to that place. I always use the example of when we fly, when you get on your plane to go to your destination, you don't just want, a plane to get on any plane that's going west. if I'm going to San Diego, I don't want to end up in Seattle, And the
Right.
irony is many planes that are heading west will appear to be going the same direction for a while, and then eventually they veer off going and head towards where they're going. You want to plot your coordinates and know exactly where you want to go. Yes, it may change. Yeah, like to go. I'm not a pilot. Like, let me be very real on that. But even when pilots get their flight orders, sometimes things change. Sometimes they have to be redirected, or they have to take another path, but they already started with a clear plan on where they wanted to go and the path that they would need to get there. It's much easier to redirect, or to avert something, or to pause, or when you already have a plan in place. So the long-term vision is definitely important. And I spoke a little bit on investments just a moment ago, but I do, when it comes to investments, considering the investments, when you're
Mhm.
thinking your long-term plan is one thing, but investing in yourself, invest in your business. Now, I get it. We all have to start where we are, like that. I understand. But when you plan properly and you embrace entrepreneurship, you should know that even if I am self-publishing today, is the goal to earn enough or to scale enough so that I can go a different direction or incorporate other things. Am I using a professional editor, or is my little cousin who is studying journalism in college helping me out for now? Like I said, get in where you fit in, but you have to be willing to invest in your business, because your ability to write and compose and to create it, once you it's one thing if you are just writing for friends and family, but once you take that to the market and you want to make money from it, it is no longer just this frivolous little thing that you just do. Not if you want to scale and win and use this as a way to retire or to leave a legacy. It becomes a business. It is a business, and you need to treat it as such. And businesses, the most successful businesses, they invest in their business ideas, they invest in their employees,
Mhm.
they invest in the community around them. And it's no different from for creatives as well.
I love that. Now, you wanted to provide insight on creating a business model. So, can you just explain what a business model is, and then just maybe like give us a little bit of the steps to create a business model?
Got you. Well, a business model, like I said before, it is a business plan or a business model.
Well, business model, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
like
when
their business model around writing.
got you. Business model. I'm not sure. That wording is throws me off just a little bit, but overall, a business model just goes back to the key things I keep saying. Knowing your goals and your plans and having that laid out somewhere, and outside of your head. So
Yeah.
many people have great thoughts and ideas, but if you don't write it down or put it on a in a PowerPoint presentation and all of that, you want your business model, your business plan, your business ideas, your forecasting, and all of that to be in places where you can go back to it and actually see it. The more rich and vibrant you can make your business model and your business plan, the more likely you have to get the things done. So yeah, the next thing that I would say after developing the mindset would be building the brand in order to present it to market. And if you're
Okay.
yeah, if you're already marketing, if you've already written some books, you are a published author and you have things going, it's still not too late to brand yourself or rebrand yourself now that you understand the differences between just being a creative that is putting content out and being a business minded creator that owns an entity that puts content out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So knowing your USP, your unique selling proposition, like what makes you stand out as an author. And I say this across the board to all business owners, all people. Like, I don't care if you if you're in a genre that's pretty popular. I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not in that industry, but let's say that romance is a really popular,
It is. It definitely is.
genre. But what makes you stand out? What, like, how can you really reach your targeted reader? And, like, another thing is, like, with the style that you write, the way that you build your characters, you should have a specific person, a specific end user is what we call it in the business term. Who is the avatar that will open your book or download your book and read it from their phone or their tablet? You should have them in mind as you're building your brand, so you can speak directly to them, and brand yourself consistently so that you build that base. I'd say this, and it is no different for creatives. Either one of the things that I have the hardest time getting many entrepreneurs to understand before they've shifted to a business mindset is, you don't have to be everything to everybody. So many
Yeah.
business owners is like, oh yeah, I sell tires. Oh yeah, I do brakes. Oh yeah, and it's, that is not the best way to brand your business or to brand yourself as a creative. When you are very specific and you speak to a very specific type of people, eventually your brand can grow. So let's take this, and I've used this example before, but it's so relevant. Now all of my children are in their 20s. So, but when they were in high school, my daughters loved Vans. I mean, the little
Yes.
slip-on sneakers and all of that. And my daughters look similar to me, like, so Vans was not, they were not Vans avatar. Vans was not marketing to them, but they and all of their friends loved Vans. I had so many
Hmm.
pairs of Vans that I was tripping over, like colors, all white, all black, like black and blue, you name it.
They had it.
We
Yes.
had Vans all over our house. And what happened was, Vans targeted their avatar so well, and they catered to their particular avatar so well, that other people began to look and say, hey, what's up with them? I see. And it happens in every industry. If
Yep.
you are laser focused on one particular avatar, and I'm just using avatar just to give people conceptually something to consider. But when you have a specific end user in mind, in reader, in purchaser in mind, and you speak directly to them, and you love on them so much, and you supply support, and you solve problems for that particular avatar, other demographics will grow, and other people will start to say, hey, what's up with that? Starbucks, is another
Yes.
example. Chipotle, for me, for those who know me, those bowls, honey, it is something about a Chipotle bowl. It will just get
Yes.
me every time, but Chipotle, I'm not their target audience. I am not, they don't have any commercials that are targeted towards me, but they loved on and built up their community so much that at some point I saw it crossed my path, and I was like, hey, what are they doing in there? So I
And
need,
now you're addicted.
I know, right? But I need creatives to understand the same concept. Be very specific about
Yep.
who your end user is in your branding, in your writing, in your approach, because then you'll be able to find them. So let's say that your avatar is a 32-year-old African American female with one child in elementary school that owns a car and makes about 65,000 a year and lives in a luxury apartment. There are
Right.
there are specific places that you could market, things that you could say that will resonate even in your writing. You know, if you really know specifically who your end user is or who you anticipate it to be, you could write things in your book that would speak, like,
To them.
oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then they're going to tell their friend who does not have kids, but she's a workout fanatic, but they have some things in common. And they're going to say, oh, well, let me read it too. But you have got to start with building a community of fanatics that are
Yes.
fanatical about what you do, the services you provide, and the books you write. And then it will grow from there. But I think what many businesses, and today we're talking to creatives, what many people do wrong is they want to be so broad and so, like, oh, well, anyone can read it. And yes, anyone can, but that is not where you should start. You should have a laser focus concept and idea and who you're trying to reach. And once you do, I can go on and on, think, like the Harry Potter series, and I can think of so many examples of where someone was very specific about who they were
What they
targeting
wanted to
in
do.
their writing, but it blew up, and globally you had a book intended for juveniles that 70-year-old people were reading, and but so I can't emphasize that enough.
Okay, so let's take a step back because I wanted to ask you this question, but I think now is at the perfect point. So we were talking about building your business model and what you are your focus is on. So you've built it. You started this business. You built it. At what point in time should you make changes to it? Now, like you said, that's your business plan as well. Is it a year or two, 5 years? When should
You
you make
change
changes?
it as need. When it comes to business plans, business models, again, and I'm gonna get a t-shirt that you got to CEO this thing.
Right, right,
You got to change it every day because because if you truly are running your business like a business, you have corporate level meetings, you have
right,
team meetings, you have networking events that you attend. And again, like I said, if you picture yourself being the pilot of a plane, if you get a word on the radio that is a storm up ahead, and you like, oh, well, but we weren't supposed to redirect until like, sometimes if you are fully engaged and you're running your business like a business, it may be that you might go 6 months and you don't need any changes to your model or your business plan. And then the next 6 months, you are making adjustments every 2 weeks or something like
right,
that.
right,
So, but I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do want people to know that when you're creating your business model and your business plan, they're fluid. It's not,
right.
it's not the 10 commandments where it's written in stone and Moses is coming down off the hill, to tell you what it is. And that's what it is. Now, be mindful. I don't think that don't fool yourself to thinking that you should switch strategies every
Right,
day. But if you need to make changes to going back to what I was just saying, when you know the target end user that you have, if you see that they are heavy into working out and getting brunch, right? They
right,
are brunch. Maybe in your business plan, you said you'll have book signing events at bookstores. But as you learn your avatar more, your end user more, you like, you know what? maybe I do a partnership with a few local gyms in my area, or or maybe I host a books and brunch instead of a traditional bookstore book signing, because your people. So I say that to say your overall strategy and your business model in and of itself, the ecosystem of what you're trying to do may not
Right.
change, but you may need to move little points around so that you are more laser focused and directly getting to the people that you can consider your end user.
Okay, so that's perfect because, like you said, especially in the writing field, things can change. In the writing world, it can definitely change. Since I've started in as a blogger, at one point in time, you can use curse words in your reviews. You can no longer do that. You can't use the derogatory language at all. They will not post your reviews. They will, or if they see it, they will take it down. They will say it needs to be changed, things like that. And now, as a blogger who branded herself, now when I first came on the scene, I just had a logo, a simple logo. And once, I think I was on maybe 2 years, and my person who did my branding, which is Aquarius Creative Design, she branded me. Thank you very much, Tamika. I appreciate you. Now, I have to be mindful of things I say and do because now I'm a brand. I have the colors and I have, what I want to stick to as far as showing me as a brand. Now, as an author, how important is it for them to build a brand?
I mean, your brand, going back to my initial point, so let me say these 3 points. Having a brand in any business allows you the capability to integrate and make sense of standard business practices, period. Without, and people use the term brand, but quite frankly, a brand is just putting parameters around something,
Right.
being
Right.
specific about something, which in and of itself is building a business. So being able to accept the integrations and the mindset of an entrepreneur and a business owner, that is why people say build your brand. And it's so like, oh, it's like, oh, like you've really saying something revolutionary, but it's the same thing. People are just boxing it up and putting a bow on it in a different way. If
Making it pretty, making it
yeah, yeah,
noticeable. You see certain things or certain colors and you see my face. It's like, oh, that's Books and So. Like, so yeah, definitely.
but even beyond, because the brand is more than just the color scheme and all of those
right.
things, like I said, but those things, if you're creating a business model and you've written your business plan and your 5-year plan and you have an exit strategy, the colors will that will be a byproduct of all of that,
Right.
like, don't get, and this is, I must say this though, because you're bringing a very, especially as a financial and business strategist, I see people who come to me and need support, and their brand, the color schemes, is beautiful, but they don't have any clue on proper systems. They don't know whether the people who work for them are 1099 employees or if technically they should be W-2, so they have tax issues underway. They their business is not in good standing, if they even have a business at all. They're being a sole proprietorship and not realize, so the I don't want to undervalue the importance of looking good. But as in so many things, a lot of people look good, but they really ain't good. When it's
I'm sorry, that reminds me of that saying, like when you meet a person and they're so beautiful, and then once you get to know them, be like, damn, they so ugly inside. So
Thank
it's
you.
like that's how it is with the brand and the business. Like, oh, on the outside, you got it together, it looks good, but then when you deep dive in, you like, oh, this is a mess.
And I
Like,
run into it all the time as someone who
yes,
supports entrepreneurs, and it essentially is just trying to get people to level up. You know, your brand colors and your and your brand design, and you know, like your
your
the
tagline.
yes, and all of that is secondary. The number one thing that you should be considering about when it comes to how you brand yourself is from a business perspective. You know,
Right.
think about large businesses. When Amazon decided to, you know, like, you know what, I think we should create a company, because they started selling books first. You know,
Yep.
I think we should create a company that can deliver books to the masses. Do you think their next question was, and our colors will be black and yellow? Hell no.
No.
No. That was
Mm-mm.
not, you know, like the colors and all of that did come at some point, but I think many of us miss steps. You know, we step one, an idea comes into your head, or you look around and you see something that you're already doing or producing. People are giving you a lot of compliments about it, and you're like, okay, maybe I have, you know, maybe it's something here. Maybe, you know, maybe I
Right.
have an opportunity here. And they skip steps 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and they already on step 25, and they got their colors in there. You know, like, come on now, that is not being a business owner. So brand, although it has been conceptualized and kind of popularized to be the colors and the tag and the cute names and all of that, all of that really is irrelevant if I could sue you and take all of your intellectual property because you are not set up properly. You have not protected your intellectual property. You don't know the first thing about proper copywriting. You don't, you know, you chose colors that belong to someone else, and now they can send you a cease and desist, and you can no longer promote, or, you know, like, so I could just go on, but the goal isn't to really scare individuals. It's to empower you and to let you know that you are a business owner. You just have to flip that switch in your head and allow yourself the space and the grace to grow into that.
I love that. So right here, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about market analysis for writers and creating a business model in the literary field. Okay. So we'll be right back.
Roxanne, love to play with my fans. Rock fits, toxic. I'm her number one fan, not petty. So jelly when she making that jam. What I want to be your man, but she got way better plans. Roxanne, love to play with my bands. Rock fits, toxic. I'm her number one fan, not petty. So jelly when she making that jam. What I want to be your man, but she got way better plans. Like Roxanne, love to play with my bands. Rock fits, toxic. I'm her number one fan, not petty. So jelly when she making that jam. What I want to be your man, but she got way better plans. Roxanne.
Welcome to Kiss Your Beauty, embracing the power of self-love in conjunction with 50 Shades of Success. While 50 Shades of Success works on the inside, let Kiss Your Beauty work on the outside, adding a little sparkle, pop, and shine with Kiss Your Lips, pamper your skin with Kiss Your Body, and let's not forget accessories with Kiss Your Girl. Find us on Instagram.
And we're back. And during the commercial, we got a little bit of Roxanne from artist Alan Ward. You know, I heard that and I was like, ooh, this kind of reminded me of Roxanne, but it was like a newer beat. You know, it was just like a little stiff. Okay, that was enough. All right. You know, I like to dance. I definitely like to dance. Okay, so we've been talking about entrepreneurial authorship, building your brand as a business. So we have talked about, you know, developing a business mindset, brand building. Again, we did go over a little bit of like your business plan and how often you should change it. And that even though branding is about your colors and your taglines and just kind of like boxing you in so you will be recognized, it's more to it. So, if anybody have questions about that, you can reach out to Miss Quintaria Brunson at the Brunson Approach to help to assist you with that. I just know I'm a brand, and I got to be brand new sometimes, which is hard because I don't know how to be brand new all the time. Okay, so
When we went before we went into break, you mentioned going into different business models,
yes,
which just goes right back to what we had continue to say time and time again. You've got to CEO this thing. You've got to consider how you will structure this as a business. There's several ways that you can or several business models that you can put in place. Are you direct sales? Like, do you offer personalized things directly to consumers? Are there do you have like a subscription model, or is there components of your of what you produce that could be on a subscription model or make sense for like a membership model or things of that nature? Or are you more of like a workshop webinar? Is that now these things don't have to be standalone. You could do a little bit of both. Perhaps your brand, it does reader webinars in addition to having direct customer sale products as well too. Are you more, and I don't know, when I say authors and creators, like, is this something that it is like a B2B? Like, are you selling a bulk of books, depending on the type of author or the type of content that you create? And I'm thinking about like textbooks and things of that nature. Many
right,
may not be in that space, but are there things? Because one thing I will say, if you're right from writing fantasy to romance to historical fiction or whatever, there's always an opportunity to scale things if you take a moment to consider it like a business. So although at first glance you may not realize that you have an opportunity to sell to schools or universities or things of that nature, there very well could be. But you have to take a moment to consider that in the business model that you're creating. What about licensing and syndication? Like,
right,
are you writing things that could be licensed? Like I said, going back to educational material or course content materials that could be used again and again. You write something once, but you have a licensing component where other people can continue to use your content. All of these are ways to go from just you are creative and you produce one thing and get one payment from it to you are a business owner who generates revenue through creative ideas, that has a business model that expands the opportunity to generate revenue. And then, like I said, licensing and syndication. Syndication, for your articles or excerpts from your books, you can generate additional revenue from those as well too. Or for many, one thing I'll say, and I haven't done a whole lot of research on this, I'm speaking more so from other industries that I've worked with. There is often so much money left on the table simply because people have not done enough research to see within their industry where are the gaps, where are the disconnects, who are the people that are not being served. So I want to encourage all creatives, once you take on and embrace the mindset of an entrepreneur, a true entrepreneur, I won't say true because I don't want to offend anyone. Because if you have an entrepreneur mindset and you're not making money, you still technically are an entrepreneur. It's almost, if someone owns a gas station but it's shut down and they don't make any money, they still a gas station owner. But I want to be that gas station owner that 24/7, people coming in and out, trucks coming in and out, like that, we balling over here. So
right,
if your goal is to be a profitable entrepreneur, then really take the time to learn your industry, to learn your avatar. Going back to what we were just saying in the previous segment, let's say that your target audience, your end user, is a gym fanatic, and you decide to host your instead of book signings at a bookstore, you do book signings at a local gym or something of that nature, or some like, are there merchandise opportunities for you to scale because most of your book readers wear spandex or workout clothes, or even from the gifts that you may give at a book signing. If you really take a moment to study your end user, to understand your industry, to find gaps within your industry that you can solve, that you can provide a solution for, you can win with that. And I'll close this particular topic out with saying, don't forget your strategic partnerships, collaborating with other experts or other people in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to a great item to have within your business model. I just touched on merchandising as well too. That's something that I feel far too many business owners, especially in a creative space where people are using their creativity, their intellectual capacity to bring things to the market. They don't realize that you can put a drop shipping, and attach that to that. You can put, a retail component to that if you choose to. Every dime that you make does not have to come from the books that you write. You can add supplements and additional packages and things of that nature to what you do. You could make it a whole world, especially when I think of authors and their creativity and the things that they provide. If I have an author that I follow and I read their books. I'm not a huge fiction type fan, but even for the authors that I do, I read a lot of self-help books and autobiographies, but I would buy almost anything those authors, put out there, because I built a relationship with them. I want to feel closer to them. I, think of like, even like a Dave Ramsey or something. He started, writing books about financial planning and spirituality. And now almost every church in America has bought Financial Peace, his little workshop for how people go from, financial destitute to financial peace. And
Right.
that's an extension of the books that he writes and his podcast. And our creatives need to consider those same opportunities. Your options are limitless as long
Well,
as
I can say, I'm sorry, I can say that we do have, especially with the authors I read, there are a lot of them that do book boxes. They do have merchandise along with their books, and they are taking advantage of that. There are some authors that I follow that has subscriptions, and so they are taking advantage of the bigger piece. But I just feel like you're saying, you taking advantage of this bigger piece. You're adding more to you just being a writer and producing books. You're producing merchandise as well. But what are other things they can do to add more money to their table, to their business, besides the merchandise?
well, I just said, like I just called off a list, but
Right.
I think the most important thing is to know who you're targeting,
Right.
because like it depending on your demographic, that like your end user may hate subscriptions. So just
Right.
because you add it, and I think one thing I will say is, when you are the CEO of your business and CEOing your life and your legacy, are you winning using that particular model? And if you are not having the results that you want, and make sure that it makes sense, like
Right.
if you add a merchandise component, is it because you were just like, oh, well, they said add things, so I'm gonna add merchandise? Or is it because you did the study and the research on your end user, and your end users listen to audiobooks while they're driving down the street, and you provide like the little phone holders. That makes sense. A lot of times people do things and you can tell that they have not really thought it out. They just heard on TikTok or something that that's a cool thing to do, or they see another author and like, oh, she got drop shipping, I'm gonna add it too. But you don't
Make it make sense.
you didn't make it make sense. And even
Right.
step even beyond that, who are you writing to? If you are still living and writing in fear, and that's what I'm going to call it, because if you are unable to scale away, and say, hey, I love y'all, but I got to focus on this particular, I got to focus on my 32-year-old single mom, African American, that lives in a luxury apartment, in an urban city, I've got to focus on her. And like, we cool, but I've got to focus on her.
So
If
her,
you have
right.
not gotten to that point, you don't know what to add. You don't know whether licensing makes sense because you may be offering a subscription base, but you really need licensing because you have content that could be sold on a bulk level to schools or for training workshops and things of that nature. So you've got to start with a plan and continue to revisit that plan and know your end user.
I'm sorry. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so basically what we just talked about, and I feel like that's part of creating a sustainable business model in a literary field, because like you said, you're giving them the merchandise piece. So like you can create merchandise, you can create books for schools, for education purpose, for anything. So as a writer,
You
right,
can
syndication,
coaching,
it's
consulting, workshops,
yes,
webinars, you name it. There's tons of
definitely. And I let me just say this. It's so many things that I have learned in life that now I see people are making businesses from it, and I'm just like, I can do that. I can do that. So it's like now putting those into place. And like you said, scaling back from hanging out with your friends or talking on the phone or watching TV and focusing on your business is something that is very important to make it bigger than what it is. And I wanted to say this because you said it earlier, but the way you research to put your books out, to make sure you're putting in the correct sayings, the correct places, the correct meaning, making sure that it makes sense. So if you're writing about a ophthalmologist and he only just check your eyes and say, okay, you're fine, but then you go to but your doctor is an ophthalmologist and you need certain, no, let me take that back. I don't want to use that because that'll probably confuse people. But that's saying as if you are writing about a doctor and you're not writing what they correctly do. Let me just say that. But so you did the research to make sure you're saying the correct terms. Then basically what Quintaria is saying, do the research to see what else you can profit from in your business as an author. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
and that comes from knowing who you're writing to.
Right.
It's not everyone, period.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of authors, a lot of my author friends, with me getting into the writing world, they always saying just what you're writing is not for everyone. So just remember that. You might have someone who pick up your book and be like, oh, this was terrible, but that's not their cup of tea. Like I just said, last year that I was going to get into reading more urban because I literally stick with romance. Since I've been in this reading blogger, been a blogger, I've only did romance. So this year I'm getting into urban, and I'm not going to lie, the people I've been reading is like blowing me away. So now I'm expanding myself to where now I can get more readers to listen to my reviews, maybe come see things that I'm doing, because now it's like, oh, she was just romance. I'm not really into that. So now I then got into the genre of urban. So I'm bringing more attention to myself.
Yeah.
I probably should have started there because I'm a little urban a lot of the time. So yes.
And again, like I said, using the analogy of a pilot, I'm not saying that you pick a course and you cannot deviate. However, you must start with a destination. starting with the destination and just seeing where the journey takes you from there.
That is perfect. So, I mean, like that right there, I think is the perfect that sums up you as a business, period. Okay, I'm getting in this to write books. Okay, so like you said, I already know at the beginning, I want to write books. Now, let me get my destination. I want to retire from having written 150 books. And each time someone buys my book, I'm still getting paid on it. So now you have to put in those pieces to get to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, so now the last piece we're going to talk about is the market analysis, because I feel like you done created your perfect business model, you done did your branding, and you done put everything into play. So it's like, what's next? You got to market yourself for people to see everything that you've put together.
Mm-hmm.
So one, I figured just because what I just said, creating a market analysis is very important. But how often, and just give us the steps for that, because I don't want to say too much without you, implementing, telling, correcting it. Let's just say it that way.
And I noticed you say how often, and again, it's almost like that is, you will know the more you learn your business. I don't know how often McDonald's changes the oil for their fries versus how often Chick-fil-A does, but I'm sure they have different schedules or,
right.
And it may even be similar, but, or maybe one burger company changes their fry oil every morning, and another one before they close out, every evening they drain it and clean it out. So some of these things, it isn't a specific time. The number one thing is to take on the mindset of a business owner and to look through the lens of owning a business. And because remember, we talked in the first episode, that alone just means that you have to shift your mindset to understand that you, as Quintaria or as Crystal, we are separate from the content that we produce. So
correct.
Just even, that is just, step one or step two. Once you're able to separate yourself as a person from the actual content that you create, like that's step one, and that will allow you to do certain things, that will allow you to see your business as its own separate entity. And now you can engage in communication, if that makes sense. Now
Yes.
Your business can tell you when it needs, some adjustments, when it doesn't need what's working and what's not, if you're running it as a business. But here are some things in terms of just tips for creatives. One is, like I said before, identify your target audience. You need to know who their specific needs, their preferences, their pain points. What are the pain points of your audience? What information are they looking for? I don't care what industry you're in, what services you provide, you have to solve problems for people. If you are not solving problems for people, you will not have a sustainable business, period. So
Yep.
Understanding that, this will guide you, going back to what we discussed on what are some of the things you can have in your business model. That will be a direct guide to let you know what content could work for your community and what won't. And again, going back to when you mentioned how often, the more you pay attention and you record the data and you're CEOing that thing, you'll know, like, oh, we do really well when we do the brunch and buy versus when we do, the happy hour, let's say, so you just have to monitor these things. Another thing, when it comes to just your market and marketing analysis, analyze the competition. your competitive landscape, identify other consultants and authors and online educators that are in your niche, look at their pricing and things of that nature. When it comes, I'll never forget, I am a coach and a consultant, but I still, pay good money for coaching and consulting myself. But I remember years ago when I first, was considering becoming an entrepreneur. It was around the time when I first started Faith and Fashion Week. This particular coach that I had, she pulled up my website, and I'm doing big things. Mama's proud, family's proud. Like, oh, my baby that started her own fashion week. She been on the news. Whoop-de whoop-de whoop. My coach looked at my stuff and was like, this is ridiculous. Your pricing, have you looked at your competition? Your pricing is so underpriced. So, you have devalued your business simply because you're 41% less of ticket price as any other fashion week. And that was eye-opening for me,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, well, that, and we've got to do the same, like, just to see. And I'll say this, if you choose a lower price, you must have a reason why. Like, it's
Right.
because you've studied your market. And even if you choose to be very upper echelon and a more pricier brand, there's no wrong way to price. What is wrong is if you have not analyzed the market, you have not looked at your competition and considered how to differentiate yourself, and that differentiation causes you to determine the cost of your products and services. Another thing is to assess market trends, and we talked about this on the first episode. Is
Mm-hmm.
um, be mindful of the pulse of the market, of the pulse of business in and of itself. Like, what's trending? Are ebooks on the rise? Is interactive courses what's hot? The distribution channels, are there new distribution channels on the horizon? Are some of the older ones that from 5 years ago still worthwhile? The marketing strategies, your influencer, what are influencer roles looking like? You need to consider all of that. The last two things I'll say is evaluate the economic environment. Kind of similar to assessing market trends, but when I say the market environment, the economic environment, I'm saying like the market demand. Who is demanding books and resources within your niche? Look at sales data, search trends, look at dialogues on social media or groups that are related to your particular niche, and it will help you with your pricing strategies and all of that. And then finally, your technology in those platforms. Technology is fully integrated into our lives
Yep.
at this point, fully. And I am not necessarily recommending that you go all out and you're just, like straight up AI out here. However, I think that oftentimes people in industries that have been around for a very long time, and writing and creative aspects of every culture has been around for centuries. We've had plays and books and that's been around a long time. Some of the things that I notice with people in industries that have a very long, like thousands of years history, many times people in those industries may have a hard time integrating new concepts or realizing or being open to understanding that, yes, you are part of an industry where great literary works have been around for, like I said, thousands of years.
Right.
However, what the time that we are in, and if you want to win now, you have got to consider, or I don't want to tell you what you got to do, but you should consider technology and the technology platforms that could scale your business as well. So
Work smarter, not harder. And if
yeah,
that can help you work smarter, and not harder, then yes, you definitely should use it, because it'll take time. If you take something that's technology driven from your business and let technology handle it, that's freeing you up time to work on something else that is not technology driven. So yeah, you definitely want to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Definitely want to take advantage of that. Okay, so everything we talked about today was phenomenal. More great information for a business owner, because we covered branding, business models, the marketing piece. But can you give us four? Let's do just two. Let's do two takeaways. Two takeaways from this whole episode that you feel that an entrepreneur would need.
Matt, can I do three?
Go for it.
Okay,
You know I'm
three.
weird. You know I need even numbers.
Well,
But since it's you doing it, it's fine.
2.5. We'll keep it close.
No. You do three because you said it. Now, if I said it, it would have been an even number. But because you're saying it, it's fine. I'll be okay. I won't cringe.
Well, the one thing is integrate. I may have four for you. The first thing is just fully embracing being an entrepreneur and knowing that entrepreneurs who are profitable know they do a deep dive into running their business like a business. So that would be the first thing. And then opening yourself and your brand to the integrating business strategies, understanding thinking like a business, like you asked a few times, well, what's the time frame on this or time? I'm not sure. If you're the CEO, you would have to, like the CEO of business A has a different timeline than the CEO of business B. So that would be my second point. The third point would be knowing and just really understanding that building a brand has a direct impact on your sales, and it is so important because like I said, even if you have cool colors or whatever, if you have not done additional research, or if you're not forward thinking and considering, okay, well, I don't know how this is working and that or whatever, but brand building has a direct impact on your sales. And then finally, having a sustainable business with consistency, that you're investing back into your business and investing into yourself, will allow you to have a long-term game plan or an exit strategy, as I call it, that will allow you to win and succeed.
I love that. Thank you. We've been talking about exit strategy for like each segment we had, but I'm excited for when we get into it a little bit more, because I never thought about an exit strategy. I just feel like an exit strategy should be in life in general. Even with you, if you have a 9 to 5, you should have an exit strategy. You thinking you get into the age to retire, but if you put into place other things, you might get retired before you're really supposed to. Like you have done, you've put together where you wanted to retire in your 50s versus your 60s. So, and that's because you put an exit strategy together.
Yeah.
And that is so important, because, I always joke that when I retire, I don't want to be just sitting around because I'm tired and, my body aching and things like that. When I retire, I want to be able to say, oh, well, where you at now? Oh, girl, I don't know. I'm somewhere. I don't want to just be sitting still. So I don't sit still now. So why would I do it when I retire? That's, things like that we need to think about. And as she said, it changing your mindset and becoming an author, becoming an entrepreneur, because you have to have that mindset, because you think having a 9 to 5 is a lot of work. No, being an entrepreneur is just as much work, because you are in your business 24/7. Just like as you're an author, you can be asleep and then all of a sudden something pop in your head and then you waking up in the middle of the night, turning on your light because you got to write it down. It's nonstop. So that's the same thing for your business. So Quintaria, can you please tell our guests where you can find you and anything that you have going on?
Yes. Well, one thing I want to say is our Pin to Profit is a workshop that we're putting together, and we'll have more information for you all on that. So we have winning solutions that will work for creatives. That's the first thing I want to share. But beyond that, you can find me on the brunsonapproach.com, on social media. It's either Legacy by Quintaria or the Brunson Approach, but Google the Brunson Approach or my name, and it should get you right to us.
It definitely will. You know, I was just talking to author Untamed yesterday, and she was Googling somebody, and then she Googled herself. And I was like, oh, let me Google myself. I was kind of excited. I Googled myself, and it was just coming up and coming up. And no, I take that back. I was Googling books and soul, and it was just coming up. I haven't just Googled Crystal. Crystal. I'm not even telling y'all my last name. I haven't Googled my whole self yet. So I don't know. I'm kind of, now I'm going to have to go do that. Yeah. But I just want to say always thank you, Quintaria, for coming on the show. You know, like I said, putting this segment together, because this was not my idea, you guys. I asked her to come on the show because I wanted to still continue to give business help to all of the authors, the creatives. And when she asked me what I wanted, I said, just come on the show. We talk about blah, blah, blah. I got an email back, and when I say she had it put together, I was like, oh, I cannot wait to share this with the masses. So
I'm a strategist. That's what I do.
Yes, she strategized the hell out of this. Like, when I say, you guys, we got 2 more episodes under this Pen for Profit segment. I'm enjoying it. I'm learning more. Like, now, you know, certain things that she's saying is popping in my head. It's like, oh, I got to work on that. Oh, I got to work on that. So like I said earlier, I'm a brand. I had a brand to get put together. So now I'm going to go back and revisit it and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in this branding kit. So thank you for that, because that is something I need to work on. And I use that for myself as, you know, my author persona as well. And I really appreciate that so much. And it's so funny because the person who put my colors helped me. Well, I gave her the colors, but she was like, you need one more. And I'm just struggling coming up with another color. And then I see my colors every single morning. And then it's another color added into it. And I was like, I think I'm going to add that color. So I'm kind of excited about that. But, you know, it's just giving us the information and the tools we need to be better entrepreneurs, authorpreneurs, creativepreneurs, bloggerpreneurs, you know, because this blogging is a business. I did not know that until I was like 2 years in, that you are a business. You can make money off of it. And yes, I am one of those people that leave money on the table because my heart's so big. I'm always helping versus charging. So that's something I need to work on. But I just want to say thank you for listening as always. And please check me out on Instagram at Books and Soul 1. Please be sure to follow the Get Caught Up podcast on Instagram at Get Caught Up Podcast, and on Twitter at GCU_podcast. We are on TikTok at Get Caught Up Author Podcast, and we also have a Facebook page, what is the Get Caught Up Podcast. If you would like to become a sponsor, please visit anchor.fm/Get Caught Up. Or if you like to give us a donation, you can send us a cash app at $U, P 2016. Again, thank you so much, Quintaria. We will be back with another episode. And next episode, I'm excited about as well. We will be talking about revenue remix, diversifying income as a creative. Because when I say it is so much that we can do to make more money, because social media paying. We need to look at different ways to diversify income as a creative. Okay, so see you next week when we talk about that.
All right, you all go build great legacies, and I'll do the same.
Yes, bye for now.
Bye for now.
Don't that feel good, y'all? This one gonna feel good to you. Like this. Slip into a fuck 'em dress.